Hello, guys. Good day. This is Anne of Reinforcement Club, your fellow positive reinforcer. Today, we're going to talk about the 10 practical tips to improve your chances of getting high mortgage approval. I'm also going to share to you my personal experience of getting a house here in Ireland because there's only few houses left at the moment and they're pretty much expensive right now. And the country is not really into building, but they're into renovating old houses, but they're still in the process of solving the housing crisis, especially in Dublin. Now, I came here in Ireland last January 2020, January 2020, sponsored by my current employer. So I'm still working in the same employer up to this point. So I also, I realized that way back then that anyone can get or buy a house having a residence visa that is stamp 4. So I got that visa in 2023 and then I decided to buy a house. After that, I got the house from my sacrifices, from my savings here in Ireland. I have the scale, nursing scale, salary based on my experience is not really that high. It's just because it was pandemic that time between 2020 to 2022 and then a little bit of 2023. I actually forget what happened, but I was one of those people who got quarantined, especially when we arrived here in Ireland in 2020, and then there you go, lockdown. So I have no way to spend my money anywhere from 2020, 2021, 2022. Other than that, I still have my Philippine passport, and when any one of us decided to go outside Ireland having just a critical skills visa, I started with stamp 1 and then stamp 2, having even just stamp 2. There's a lot of requirements that you have to do, but it's not impossible. Some of my friends were able to explore Europe that time, 2023, before our citizenship. And I just had my oath taking last year, December. So I'm waiting for, I'm still in the process of getting the citizenship. So I'm more than 5 years here in Ireland. So, for me, buying a house in Ireland, especially when you're near or within Dublin, it helps you save money. So I'm going to share to you the tips which is applicable to, employees. Ordinary employees. This is not for landlords buying another properties and very like a kind of a art of financing. But this what I'm going to share today is the typical ways where an ordinary employee like me could find a way with a trade-off of sacrifice in order to buy a house in Ireland or anywhere else. In Philippines, it's easy to get approval, get mortgage as long as you have a stable job. And with all the tips today that I'm going to share, it's easier than here. Now, this time, every country actually differs. But at the moment, the interest rate is actually good. And you also notice that when the interest rate goes down, even a single decimal point, the housing prices goes up. So if you can buy now, even though the interest rate it's not favorable to you, but what you can do now, at the moment, the price is right. And inflation also makes everything expensive, way expensive. Like there's a huge difference in housing for prices from in 1 year, 2 years, especially in Ireland, as you can see. And housing prices, you can check on Daft or My Home, the housing prices anywhere in Ireland, even to those remote areas, they're still going up. I'm talking about the prices. Now, the first things I did was, I did improve my credit score. Here in Ireland, they don't really ask for a credit report unless if you have credit cards, for a long time. But for me, yes, they added as part of my requirements to submit the credit report because I declare my accounts in the Philippines. But so far, it was easy to get a credit report there because everything was online. Everything is online this time. So make sure that you pay your bills on time and then regularly, consistently, that you have no backlogs, no arrears. Or you can also make your credit card balance zero or reduce over time. Like you are paying your credit every month accordingly. And avoid applying for new credit, a new debt or even credit card before mortgage approval. While you're applying for mortgage, never do that. Never apply for any debt or additional debt for you. That's a red flag for the lenders, for the bankers. And if you have other accounts from other countries, they might. It depends on your mortgage broker. So I had my mortgage broker or the bank if they need a credit report from you. Otherwise, to some of my friends who got the mortgage approval, the bank didn't require them to submit credit report since they didn't declare anything from the Philippines. So if it happens that you are, if you're an immigrant, a legal immigrant in any country, the second thing, tip that I would share to you is increase your income. So even if you're just, you have a minimum wage, make sure that you declare also if you have side hustles, regular side hustles or overtime. Lenders prefer this verifiable income in your bank statement. And make sure also that you have consistent employment. You don't transfer from one employer to another. From 1 year to every 6 months you change employer. That's a red flag for lenders too. And document all the bonuses that you receive from your employer, if you have any, your overtime and your side income. Make sure that you can prove to them that at some point you can always get additional income when you need it. That is to let them know that you can afford to pay them. All right? And another thing is that you make sure that your report card, which is your bank statement, is, clearly says there that you have this much of net income per month. Like you have high net income that is minus all of your, major expenses. This is like, let's just say you have 1,000 euro net income, crystal clear, that goes regularly every month in your bank account. And you can always get more once you do overtime, once you do this particular side hustles. And it's legal side hustles because it reflects on your bank statement. Now, another thing is that it's important. Number 3 is reduce your debt to income ratio. What I'm trying to say is low debt means higher borrowing power. So the less debt you have, even phone debts, TV, like internet, telephone, no other debts. Some people they try to borrow money just for holidays, buying a sofa, just small time. If you can afford to buy them in cash, just get them done. Clear your debts before mortgage application, at least 6 months before you apply. Clear your bank statements. So your bank statement, by the time you graduate from college or master's degree, your bank statement is your report card. And it even tells you who you are, according to your spending. What are your priorities? Your life story also reflects in your bank statement. So other ways to reduce your debt to income ratio is you pay off your loans and credit cards before, at least 6 months before your application. Make yourself clean and pure before 6 months before the application. And avoid debts, even small-time debts, before approval. Just for precaution, in case, just keep yourself clean in the meantime, if you have other plans. If you're eager to get a mortgage, this is for the sake of, if you really want to buy a house. You have to discipline yourself, even for a period of time. I know that you're able to pay, you have high income, but there are also people who have high income, lawyers, doctors, who cannot get mortgage approval because of their spending habits. Another thing is, number 4, save for a for a larger down payment. So here in Ireland, there's a first time buyer, even second time. If you buy another house, you can, the lenders can accept 10% down payment. But since the housing prices this time is quite high, I'm talking about here, in Dublin, it's like my friend got the mortgage approval of €315,000, but there's not much good houses with in a good neighborhood in Dublin in that price, 315. So in other words, if you have €400,000, yes, you're not going to be getting the new houses, but think about it. If you are a minimum wage, how can you able to save the down payment? Yes, you can save the down payment 10% of 400,000. Let's just say that's 40,000. But how can you be able to save for the monthly payment in a length of time? Let's just say 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. That's a high monthly payment, interest payment to the bank. If you're just an ordinary employee having a minimum wage and you are applying for a mortgage alone. But you can still do it. It's just that you have to save large amount of down payment. If you can, like one of my friends, he did, that was way back 2022, his down payment was 100 grand. Anyway, he was granted to get a house of 310, even though he's a minimum wage, he works an ordinary job, ordinary employee, but he did pay down 100 grand to be able to get a mortgage of 310. And right now he's enjoying it. He lives in Dublin. That was way back 2022. And right now, all the housing prices anywhere in Ireland, they're all gone up. 400, yeah, you can still buy some in a good neighborhood, but not necessarily that you'll be getting a new house, new build houses. But it doesn't matter, as long as you have a house and you're happy about it, it fulfills you, it satisfies you, then that's what it is about. No need to get fancy. You'll understand when you leave here because there's actually a huge problem of housing, housing crisis at stake. So if you want to be qualified alone, the only way you can do that is to save large down payment if you're aiming for 400,000 mortgage. If your parents can help you, why not? Down payment 150 or 200,000. The banks would be happy to grant you 400,000 even just yourself, because if you have large down payment, it reduces the lender's risk and may increase your approval amount, even though it's huge, because you already have 50% of your skin on the game. So if you're applying a loan, it's way better to, save for huge down payment this time. But if it's, if you're a couple, if you're husband and wife, then you can still get to have a big chance to get that 400,000. You just got to get your act together and stay clean during the application, at least 6 months before. So that's what happened to me. They were, the bankers, the mortgage broker evaluate my performance, financial performance, at least 6 months from the time of my application. So yeah, if there's two of you and you have good income combined, yeah, you can get higher mortgage amount, maybe 350. But to my friend, they got 315. But if you can get more, then why not? Because there'll be two of you sharing the interest payment monthly, plus payment for the principal for a number of years. So it's a high approval rate. If you have a good performance in your bank statement, if you both high income, then you can even get more, 400, 500,000. It's not impossible. But if you're alone, you might gonna need your parents' help or save more. And it's never impossible. It's just that you have to make sacrifices. Another thing, number 5, is avoid major financial changes during the application. Like, for example, change of jobs. You quit your job, you transfer from one employer to another during the mortgage screening or approval. Don't make major purchases, even single travel. Like one of my friends, during the mortgage application, they went back to Philippines and they weren't able to get the approval that time. They reapply again. So that what happened. Major purchases, cars, even the simple ones. Just keep yourself tight. Just in just a few months to be able for you to get what you want. Just a little bit sacrifice. Or, when saving money, that's a huge sacrifice from you. But, if that makes you happy, if you think it's worth it, then why not then? Another thing is that don't open or close accounts during the approval. Otherwise the lenders is going to ask you about it. But if it happens to you and then it's reasonable, then it's actually, you just have to answer them. Stability matters during the mortgage review. So you make your finances stable, clean and bright, like you have no major expenses or changes in your life during the application. Keep yourself tight. In just a few months. Number 6 is organize your financial documents. So when you apply for mortgage in certain banks, they're gonna let you submit some requirements. So you have to prepare those requirements faster and in a much credible way, especially bank statements. They're gonna look for that, even in your investments somewhere else. It could be like, for me, I have some, investment in the Philippines, which I declared. But you can still, if you don't want to declare your other accounts from other countries, it's all right. But if they're asking for that, then you can, just give them the right answer. Give them the truth, nothing but the truth. And besides, it's legal, as long as it's legal. So you have to get together your tax returns. If you have dividends, from your investments, if you have your income tax, they're gonna ask for it, and your pay stubs and bank statements all the way. And they're gonna ask you, did you pay your taxes from your dividends? And then you can, if you didn't pay it yet, then just tell them not yet. And besides, it's your responsibility anyway. They might just want to know what's really going on. And you haven't sell your stocks yet, or your part yet in that company. Just tell them the truth. Nothing but the truth. Okay? Number 7 is shop for lenders, different banks. You can even, for me, I just went to a mortgage broker, and he's the one who gave me different options from different banks, different interest rates, different deals. So it's easier. It was easier for me, and it was free. But they'll be getting something out from the bank for them, for their company. So it just so happened that there's a friend of mine who referred that mortgage broker to me. So I don't know. I'm just grateful for that. So shop for different lenders, because different lenders offer different limits. Compare banks, bank interest, bank deals. Read their interest rate and then length of time that you're willing to pay for it. And you can even apply for mortgage in some credit unions, not only in Ireland but somewhere else too. And it's way better to get mortgage approval before house hunting, before shopping. And I also noticed that in Philippines, even before the mortgage approval, you can shop for houses there, because it's easy. But here in Ireland, they're much particular about your mortgage approval before any agents will give you time for house viewing. They have to make sure how much approval, more amount that you've been approved by the banks. They make sure that you have the capability to purchase the house before they make time for you. So that's what's happening here in Ireland. So they some of them, they even ask you on the phone before you see each other for house viewing. Number 8 is clean up your bank statements. So if you're planning to buy a house, make sure that you have some kind of life-changing decision that you have to limit your purchases 6 months from your application. So if you're a kind of person who likes to buy stuff all the time and then reward yourself all the time, like food, even shoes, and then sometimes there's your net per month is just like reduced compared to the previous months. So it's I would suggest to make a little bit of sacrifice to keep yourself consistently in high net income per month during the application, at least 6 months before. Okay, lenders review your spending habits for sure. If they're going to look up to what's the most important to you, how you spend your money. They can describe you as a person through your bank statements. Avoid unexplained large deposits. So, yeah, you can. Yeah, I also, before I transferred, like, not so large deposit, but reasonable deposit from Philippines. But yeah, I explained it to the lenders where it came from, but it actually came from me. And even a single, like, unknown deposit in your bank statement, unknown, the bank's still going to ask. You just have to tell them the truth, and make sure that it's legal too. Like, for example, there was one time that the bank was asking me, my friend was borrowed 1 grand from me, and she has to pay it. And by the time she transferred this 1 grand into my bank account, then the bank was asking me about it. Where did it came from and why? You just have to tell them the truth. Another way to impress your, lenders for, when you present your bank statement is that keep a consistent saving behavior. Like, if you can able to save 1,000 euro per month, keep that consistent 1,000 plus euro per month. Plus over time, you work harder during your application. I'd say that, there are some, this is just for the record. But make sure after the mortgage approval, when you get the house, when you're finally paying every month for your mortgage, still make sure that you pay your mortgage on time. No arrears. I mean, for 25 years or 20 years or 15 years or 10 years, whichever you prefer, make sure that you pay that amount. That's also your credit score, credit report. That's part of your journey, being a loyal customer. Loyal, trustworthy customer. Okay? It's just that you are at the verge of mortgage review or approval, that you have to give them a good performance in the meantime. Although you want to purchase a car after the house, you might want to think about that later after the approval. So I hope you know what I mean. Keep consistent saving behavior, and then it will reflect to your bank statement. Number 9 is you might want to consider loan programs. Like here in Ireland, there is what we call Help to Buy, which is applicable to new homes. So these are high loans, but the government will help you pay the house from your taxes. And in America, they have FHA, VA, and any first-time buyer programs. In Philippines, I haven't heard any government loans. Yes, that could be, but I haven't heard any government loans in the Philippines, to be honest. Maybe because I haven't applied any mortgage in the Philippines, just here in Ireland. So if I ever do, I'm going to share it to you. And lastly, the easiest way to do this is to make things quick. After you get your act together, having a consistent saving behavior, avoiding major purchases, keeping your bank statement clean. For a faster approval, it's way better to get a mortgage broker. That guy or gal will be the one working on different banks and will give you different offers. Some of them are free, like what I had, and some of them you have to pay them. And if you want to save money, you can do it yourself. You can go to any banks and apply for mortgage. It's all up to you. So, that's how it is when at this time, reality strikes. You're already out from school and you're ready to purchase a house. It's a lifelong commitment for you to do. So, this is the reality now. Things are getting expensive, and banks are also vigilant in whoever they're going to lend mortgage, because this is an asset for the bank. And this, when you handle your mortgage properly, your house will also become your asset in time. If you no longer live in it, if you rent it out because you want to live somewhere else or for some other reason. So yeah, that's another story. But this time we'll just focus on mortgage approval. So yeah, it's not, if you really want to buy a house, no matter how expensive it is, if you want it so bad, you wouldn't accept no. There's no way for you that you be, going through life without getting it if you really want it so bad. Which means that you are willing to sacrifice for what you want. And God knows in time, it's just a matter of time that you'll be able to get this. Nothing is impossible when you want it. Otherwise, if you don't want it, you just give yourself a reason not to. Or you might just be listening to other hearsay that it's expensive, that it's impossible. Yeah. If you want it, you're always going to find a way. Period. So I hope I shared something valuable today. And if you ever love this episode, you can follow me in YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Reinforce Me Club. By the way, this is Anne, your fellow positive reinforcer. I do appreciate your time and have a lovely day ahead. Thank you.